Dome roars with excitement as riders get set to take to the track on the second round of the Amp Mobile AMA Supercross Lights East Coast Series. Honda rider Davey Millsaps fought his way to the top of the podium last week in St. Louis, with Kawasaki rider Chris Gosler and Brandon Jessamine atop his Yamaha not far behind. These and other talented riders take to the sticky Georgia clay here in Atlanta next. The AMP Mobile Supercross Lights East Coast Series is rolled into the Peach State for round 2 of the 2006 championship season. The biggest challenge for the competitors tonight might not be the tricky red Georgia clay, but the fact that they are racing in the points leader's backyard. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside former Supercross Lights champion Denny Stevenson. Davey Millsaps from Honda won the race last week in St. Louis and took over the points lead. And now here we are, Denny, right near his hometown of Cairo, Georgia. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage racing tonight?
When you kid me, Ralph, this is a huge advantage for Davey Millsaps. He's going to race in front of 70,000 of his closest friends and family. He's going to be pumped and excited to get win number 2.
Only one race so far for the AMP Mobile Supercross Lights East Coast Series. Well, let's show you how the points shake out. Last week's winner was Davey Millsaps, and the Honda rider leads the points by 3 over Chris Gosler. 5 back in third is Brandon Jessamine, with Kyle Chisholm rounding out the top 10 in the standings. All right, Denny, let's take a look at the racetrack tonight inside the Georgia Dome.
A long track here tonight. Lap times in the mid 50-second lap times. Red clay gonna be breaking down. Got the star straight you see coming across the middle. Up around through a rhythm section here. He's got going to double. They're gonna come back through the sand. A little mixing up here in the Georgia Dome. And then a big on-off. Guys gonna go up around, they're gonna come down this back section through a deep section of whoop-de-doos. Broken down to get a little rutted up, a little cupped, then up over the finish line. Tonight in Georgia, be a good night of racing.
And here's our road to tonight's main event. There will be 2 heat races, 6 laps each, 20 riders, top 9, advance straight to the main out of those 2 heats. If you haven't made it through the heats, you get one final shot in the last chance qualifier, 4 laps, 22 riders, top 4 advance to the main. Before we get to heat 1, here's Krista with a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
At the end of last year, Chris Gosler found himself without a ride. So when Pro Circuit Kawasaki took a chance on him, he promised he would perform. So coming into St. Louis, the first race of the East Lights Series, Chris felt the pressure. How much pressure? Well, he said he got married, and that was nerve-wracking, but it was nothing compared to coming into that first race.
Let's show you our Dunlop starting list for heat number 1, and joining us in the booth, Kevin Windham. Good to have you with us, Kevin, as we take a look at our Dunlop starting list here. What do you expect out of these first couple of heats?
Well, I expect to see a lot of action. It seems like it's been going all year on the West. Here we are over on the East, second round. No reason for the action to stop now.
Everybody's starting to fight their way out of the first couple of turns. And Denny, the one thing we've been hearing a lot about this dirt here in Georgia that's pretty consistent, it's a little bit sticky.
Well, Kevin, you can be a test to this dirt here in Atlanta, Georgia. You've had some good luck here and you've had some bad luck. What do you think of this red clay? How's it going to affect these guys?
Well, this dirt here in Atlanta is tricky because it does rut up, but then at the same time it gets slick. So these riders really got to be on their toes tonight.
And how about this Chris Gosler kid? Just a few weeks ago or months ago, he wasn't even sure if he's going to have a ride. Guys at Pro Circuit pick him up. He was sweeping floors, it seemed like, to get this ride. And last weekend, he comes off with a solid second. How much does that help him in his momentum coming in this weekend?
Well, we've all heard the stories of how he's got here and the things that he's committed of himself to get this ride with Mitch Payton on the Pro Circuit Kawasaki. And he's living up to what he promised. I think he had a great ride at the first round of the East here in St. Louis, and here in Atlanta, he's obviously starting off the night well.
Working his way through the rhythm section. Big triple coming up here. No problems for Gosler. Into the pit, Denny.
Yeah, the sand section, this is kind of a mix of sand, I guess. I mean, Kevin, how does it affect you to go from this, like you said, a little bit of a slippery track, red clay, then throw in the middle of the sand section, middle of the track?
Well, these guys at Dirtworks do everything they can to throw all manner of obstacles at us, and you know, it's tricky. You got to adjust. Each lap, the track's changing. That section might be getting a little bit more or less whooped out. These ruts are coming in. These guys have always got to be on their toes and constantly be changing to a track that's going to be changing all night long.
Battle behind him, second place, Chessman and Gerke in the middle of this fight here.
Chessman just doing a great job, returning to action in Supercross. You all know the story, kind of fell off the map a little bit, did some arena cross, but you know, he's back in the scene. You know, Chris Gossler returned to it, Brennan Chessman as well. What kind of clicks in a rider like this, Kevin? You know, you kind of get off the map, you have a couple bad seasons, and then all of a sudden, boom, something clicks and you're back in action.
Well, I think in the sport of Supercross, it's easy to let the lights and the pressure get to you. And I think some of these guys get a little bit of time off, realize how they can ride, and realize what they want out of the sport. Time off does them good. They come back in a low-pressure situation. People don't expect the things that they were expecting before they left. And that's what it takes to get these guys up there, riding the race they can race.
Heat number 1 is underway here in the Georgia Dome. Brandon Chessman on the 121 holds down second place, and everybody's chasing Chris Gossler.
This program proudly brought to you by Shannon's. Now there's a real choice of insurance for bike enthusiasts. So call 13 46 46. Shannon's is famous for motoring enthusiast insurance. And now they're into bikes. For experienced riders of cruisers, tourers, nakeds and sports bikes, this is big news. With Shannon's, you have a real choice of insurer. If you garage your bike, Shannon's offers full comprehensive cover, lower rates depending on usage, and even great cover for your riding gear. Now there's a real choice of insurance for bike enthusiasts, so call Shannon's on 13 46 46.
If you were born to drive, you haven't really lived till you've driven Italy's first diesel-powered rocket. The new Alpha 147 diesel from $39,990. Test drive today.
Best male, rock best, hip hop best, groove, spanking new album of the song of the year, pop best, dance video, best R&B video of the year. Vote now. MTV.com.au. You can win exclusive tickets to the MTV Australia Video Music Awards 2006, coming April 12.
Hello there, we've got a busy weekend edition of ESPN's SoccerNet Press Pass coming up for you. Amongst other things, we'll look back at all the midweek international friendly action. Tommy Smith and Janusz Mihalik will be with me here in the studio.
There's Chris Gossler on the 102, holding down the lead on the Kawasaki. Chessman giving chase in second place, and Gerke back in third as Chessman dives into the pit.
See that rider number 95 in the white gear, the Team Faith Yamaha trying to chase down Matt Gerke. That's Kevin Johnson, also fresh off the arena cross scene. Had a really good season battling out with Chad Johnson and Brock Sellards. Just some time to turn up here for this East Coast License Championship.
That was an interesting section right there, too, Denny. You get a long run out of that turn, straight into those whoops.
Yeah, that's these guys been talking about, you know, trying to lessen the whoops and make them a little bit safer, but yet, you know, this weekend they give them about a 100-foot run, 100-yard run. What do you think about that, Kevin? These guys, you know, this whole controversy with the whoops.
Well, the whoops seem tricky. You know, they're a little bit small, but you have this huge entry speed. These guys are coming in really quick. Things can get out of whack in a hurry when you have a lot of entry speed into the whoops, and I think these things will be giving the riders fits all night long.
Here's Gossler. The Peach State Supercross fans getting a good show here tonight in heat number 1. And look at Gossler just rimming his way around that pole turn.
He was looking good. He laid down a 55.9, while Brandon Chessman actually has the fastest lap time with a 55.6. Kevin, we're always referring to lap times, whether it be in practice or in the heat race. You know, when you're racing out there, are you back in the truck, look at these lap times, does that really affect you?
Well, that's become a very real part of the game. You know, there's a lot of guys on the line for heat number 2 watching this thing, and they're not able to watch Chris Gosler and race against him until later in the night, provided they make the main event. So the only thing they have to go off is the lap times, and they can play a head game, you know, going into the main event.
Of course, the top 9 riders transferring straight out of the heats. Those are the riders in green going across the top of your screen. The riders with the red numbers all hoping to improve their position. They will get one more shot at the main through the last chance qualifier coming up a little bit later. Look at the speed Gosler carries out of the corner. There's that run into the whoops. Final lap. Gosler just on cruise control, taking the win and setting himself up for another good night 2 weeks in a row. Jessamine will take second. He's going to the main. Kirky's going along with him. Grant improves his position to 4th. He's going to the main. Let's head downstairs to Chris Devoto.
From a podium in St. Louis to a heat win in Atlanta, all this for a guy who almost didn't have a ride. Congratulations, Chris.
Oh, thank you very much. I couldn't have done it without my Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki. I mean, that thing is a rocket ship. It helps me get off to all them hole shots, that's for sure.
We've got 4 high-stakes gamblers, 4 of the best poker players in the world, matched up at 4 different events.
Mike has picked a card toss, Ted has picked ping pong, Robert picked air hockey, and I picked a spelling bee.
We are playing for a seat in the final event of the World Series. This is about as high stakes as it gets.
The prop betting is all about ego, and winning this would be huge.
Bigger than a game, much more than a mere rivalry. Steeped in history, stirred by maniacal fans, coached by legends. What college basketball is all about. North Carolina, Duke.
North Carolina, Duke. Live Sunday, exclusively on ESPN.
ESPN Sport Legends presents Rocky Graziano. On September 27, 1946, in New York's Yankee Stadium, 27-year-old challenger Rocky Graziano went after Johnny Zale's middleweight crown with both hands.
In the 6th round, Rocky got hit with a left hook to the body that in the solar plexus, and it paralyzed him, and he went down, and he started to crawl up the ropes.
Ruby Goldstein put his arms around Rocky and stopped the fight. Rocky was very upset. He said he was okay. He wanted to continue.
A rematch was held 9.5 months later in Chicago.
In the 6th round, he came out with murderous one good eye and slugged and climbed all over Zale on the ropes, pounding him. And finally, the referee stepped in, and Rocky Graziano was the new middleweight champion of the world.
The Dunlop start list for heat number 2. Thomas Hahn is in this one. Robert Marshall, Josh Hansen. Guys, do we expect Josh Hansen to improve on his position last week?
Well, as we know, an opening round can be difficult. Hopefully round 2, he worked out all those bugs.
Let's head downstairs to Krista with a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
One of those bugs is a sore back. Josh Hansen started suffering from a herniated disc about 2 weeks ago. His doctor told him he needs rest. He said that's all he did this week. No training, no testing. He just stayed in bed.
There's Josh right there. He's going to carry our onboard camera for us. Kevin, you know all about recovering. Give us a little insight of what he's going through.
Well, this is a tough game, and to have an injury and to do the racing that we do week in and week out, you have to do whatever it takes during the week. Some weeks that might be riding, some weeks it might be resting. This week was one of rest for Josh Hansen. We'll see if he can improve coming in round 2 of these.
winner. It looks like Hansen's going to get a good jump and take the early lead. But getting out front will always make you feel better right away, won't it, Kevin?
Well, I think the rest is paying off at this point. We'll see how the remainder of the heat goes for him, but obviously a great start. That's step one to having a great night.
On board with the KTM rider, Josh Hansen. A great look from our Red Bull KTM helmet cam. He's opened up a pretty good lead.
Yeah, we know Josh is a good starter. He proved that last week. He likes to ride, as we talk about quite often, that comfort level, that comfort zone. He likes to ride the track very precise, hit everything very good, make no mistakes. Sometimes when he makes mistakes are amplified, he tends to kind of lock up, maybe drop his lap times, but right now, out front, smooth sailing.
Into the pit. Are you a fan of those kind of sections, Kevin?
Well, you know, you have to deal with anything they throw to you, and it seems like the sport is always looking for something to change. You see a lot of guys getting loose in that section. It could present an opportunity for some of these guys to make passes in the main event.
The 54 right behind, holding down second place, Robert Kittery. Remember, top 9 transfer, the numbers in green across the top of your screen hold the transfer position. Those in red still looking to improve.
Kevin, we talked about how good a starter Josh Hansen is. Other aspect, other opposite around, Davey Millsaps. Great rider, always seems to suffer from poor starts. Why do you think that is?
Well, I know that he's a heavy guy, but, you know, in the day of the four-stroke, and now that we're in the Supercross Light, I think that is not as big of an issue as he makes the pass here. I don't think that's as big of an issue as what it used to be. I feel certain he's got to be practicing starts, but I think that his career is going to be so much easier if he can just get off that gate and put himself in a position to win these races from lap 1.
Millsaps on the 118, the Honda rider that won last week, sits in second place, and everybody's chasing Josh Hansen.
March 3, and on this day in 1993, the Toronto Star reported that Canadian sprinter Ben Johnson had failed a drug test for the second time. At the 1988 Seoul Olympics, Johnson ran the 100 metres in 9.79 seconds, shattering the world record and making him the fastest man alive. Only 62 hours later, however, Olympic officials entered Johnson's room and left with his gold medal after he had tested positive for steroid use. 5 years later, he failed his second test following a Montreal track event and was banned from competitive running for life. It was to be the end of his brilliant running career. Also on this day, play was interrupted at a soccer match in Argentina as rival sets of fans fought against each other and the police. The violence twice halted play in a game between Boca Juniors and Chicharito Juniors.
ESPN gets your motor running each and every Saturday with 2 hours of power we call the engine block. Two-wheel, open wheel, or off the beaten path. Brought to you the way only ESPN can. Plenty of full throttle programs to keep every motorhead happy. The Engine Block, Saturday afternoons, only on ESPN.
Good round with Frazier. I am the king of the world. It's all over.
Heavyweight boxing has seen many explosive opening rounds, but perhaps none as brutal as the first round of Jess Willard's title defense against Jack Dempsey. After hurting Willard in the opening moments of the fight, Dempsey produces a punching onslaught that leads to 7 knockdowns in round 1. Dempsey's victory catapulted him to stardom, and he successfully defended the heavyweight crown until 1926.
Far bigger than a game. Much more than a mere rivalry. Steeped in history. Stirred by maniacal fans. Coached by legends. What college basketball is all about. North Carolina, Duke.
Carolina, Duke. Live Sunday, exclusively on ESPN.
Still leading here inside the Georgia Dome is Josh Hansen on the KTM. As the laps click away halfway through this 6-lap heat race.
Getting this win under his belt will no doubt ease that pain, that sore back, and give him some confidence for this main event.
It will definitely do that for him. Sitting here looking at the lap times right now, it appears that Millsaps might be closed in on him. He needs to finish this heat out strong.
There's a good look at him right there on the number 100 KTM. Joining us in the booth, Supercross superstar Kevin Windham. Kevin, you know a lot about the recovery that Josh Hansen's going through. Give the fans a quick update about what's going on with you and when we can expect to see you back on board.
Well, it's been long overdue. This injury is breaking my arm in December 14th. Has kept me out for a while, but happy to announce I've been back on the bike. You know, my Sobe Samsung Honda has been awesome preseason, and I was just so disappointed I didn't get a chance to be here early in the season. But as it turns out, I should be around for the last 6 rounds, which would start me at Orlando through the finale in Vegas.
Of course, you'll see that Orlando round right here on Speed Channel. We're looking forward to seeing you back in action. I know the fans have missed you. Stein over the finish line jump once again. Goes the race leader, Josh Hansen, who still leads over Davey Millsap.
Millsap's making a late charge right here in the final lap. Now, Kevin, it's the last lap. Both these guys are qualified. What is Davey Millsap trying to prove right here?
Well, he's just trying to ride his race right now. He's in the zone. There's no point in taking himself out of it. He doesn't see any threat in staying up there and running with Hansen. And when you have a start like that, you keep working your way through it. Wherever you get is where you get. Right now, I think he's taking a little bit of wind out of Hansen's sails.
Can it be a mental game, though, if he takes the win away from him?
This sport is so much mental, and as we enter into the whoops, he's got a good drive. I think it would definitely affect Hansen if he gets this pass made.
Here he comes right to the line, and the checkered flag's going to go to Hansen, but he knows Millsaps was right there at the end. Well, Kevin, thanks for stopping by. Enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you in Orlando.
My pleasure. This has been a blast, and I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to getting back out there on the track soon here in Orlando.
All right, good luck to you.
Thanks a lot.
Let's show you the results from heat number 2. And here are the 9 riders transferring on straight to tonight's main event. Of course, everybody else who has not transferred gets a shot in the last chance qualifier. But first, here's Josh Hansen with Krista.
Man, guys, it was so cool hearing from Kevin Windham. Now we're going to hear from Josh Hansen. Josh, we documented that you have a sore back. How bad was it for you in that heat race?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I got like 3 laps, and that's all I got. You know, I'm just having big time problems, but that's that, and just have to deal with it.
This program proudly brought to you by Shannon's. Now there's a real choice of insurance for bike enthusiasts. So call 13 46 46.
Shannon's don't just insure go-go-mobiles. No.
He's right, and the big news is Shannon's is now into bikes. If you're a bike enthusiast with several years of experience, you finally have a real choice of insurer. And that's got to be good for anyone that garages their bike, whether it's a cruiser, tourer, naked, or sports. Now there's a real choice of insurance for bike enthusiasts, so call Shannon's on 13 46 46.
Listen.
Open the world of multimedia. Meet the new Nokia N series.
What are you alluding to?
Yeah!
They're just talking.
Quirks, some things that I like to keep a pattern on.
Lucky hand, lucky shirt, lucky talisman.
If I'm winning, I wear the same jacket, the same shirt.
But the real question is, do they actually work?
I don't think having a rabbit's foot would make me luckier. It certainly didn't make the rabbit any luckier.
If you think that that's what was good for you, then that's what you should do.
The red clay giving these guys a lot of challenges here tonight as a last chance qualifier gets set for the Supercross Lights East Coast Series. Final transfer spots open into tonight's main event. And here's our Dunlop start list. Stefan Ricotta's still trying to find his way in, Denny.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier today. We walked in the track, and he just had a great smile on his face. He's just excited to be back here racing.
As we take a look at the rest of the riders in our LCQ, let's head downstairs to Krista for another Progressive Direct pre-race report.
Well, keep your eyes on number 122, Matt Walker. Why? Because he keeps his eyes on this race. A native of Georgia, Walker now lives in McDonough, just a short drive down I-75 from the Georgia Dome. He likes the red clay, and he loves the fans. He is going to be one to watch because this is where he scored one of his 2 podiums last year, right here in front of the hometown crowd.
The 30-second board is up. It'll go sideways like that and get ready for the gate to drop. Coming around the outside, the 141 is Steve Boniface. McKinney, hang on to it, Denny.
Bobby Canary quickly grabs the lead from Steve right there. Steve Boniface and Kelly Smith went down together in their heat race. 2 riders we expected to see up front who did well in the main event last weekend. Now in this last chance qualifier, and quickly Boniface re-grabs that lead on that Buku Energy Honda. Bobby Canary, on the other hand, was looking very good in his heat race. He went down big time in the Whoop-de-Doos. Same spot where Matt Walker went down. Track very challenging tonight in Atlanta.
You see Boniface takes a very inside line there around that big tough block. There's 2 ways around that. You got to whip around the bowl section or come in real tight.
Challenging section, 2 lines to choose right before that whoop section. This section, these guys are double, tripling, seat bounce into that. That's where you seat bounce. You sit down on the roof on the seat. It brings you up over the jump. You got to do everything they can on these 250Fs motorcycles to get the most out of them. Seat bounce is just one of the techniques.
Talked about this Georgia red clay being pretty consistent tonight, a little bit sticky, seems to be holding true.
Yeah, they did a great job working the track. You get a Gertworks crew. You see Brian Johnson making a move on Kelly Smith. Brian Johnson in that Star Racing Lucas Oil's Yamaha. He was scheduled to ride the West Coast rounds. Actually started out the season Anaheim 1, went down the whoops, got hurt. Said, you know what, I'm going to take it off my time off, heal up, get ready for the East Lights.
That's the rider in the blue and white riding gear. Right behind him comes the 37 of Smith. Kelly Smith out of Michigan. Remember, the riders in green across the top of your screen hold the transfer spots. Those in red looking for one more opportunity to improve their position and get the transfer. Smith actually has one. As the scoring system gets caught up, he sits in 4th on that red 37. What's so unique about riding red clay like this, Denny? What do you got to focus on as a rider?
Well, like Kevin said in our heat races, it's a challenging track because it can be soft, it can break down, you get ruts, but it can get packed on the inside lines, and it's got that little bit of a glare to it. It kind of gets shiny, it gets slippery. As you see right there on the inside of that corner before the triple jump. So you've got to fight some of the ruts of the jumps, yet the corners still stay slippery.
Is it something the majority of the riders look forward to, or is it a type of surface that they can't wait to just survive it and get away from it?
I think it's just another part of the track, and coming east, a different type of mix-up. And the best riders, they learn to adapt and